Hello, everybody. Al Papalardo, National Director for the state of Louisiana for the PIA, Professional Insurance Agents. And joining me today, I've got Mike Becker, who is the CEO and EVP of the National Professional Insurance Agents. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Great. So this is our virtual convention. Typically, Mike would be there or the president of the PIA would be there, but because of times that we're living in right now, we're doing this virtually. And typically Mike would get up and speak for about 20 minutes or so. And we wanted to do something a little different now that we're doing it virtually. So we've got, top 5 topics and things that you need to know from an insurance agency's perspective, not just for your agency, but for your staff and even for your clients. And we're going to go over those things real quick. And Mike's going to show us where you can find updated information even after this video is done on all of those topics. And then we'll talk a little bit about those topics as well. And Mike, unless you've got anything to say, I think we jump into it.
Let's rock and roll.
So the PIA has been working very hard on a national level since this pandemic started. There's all the regular things that are going on. And then you've got the pandemic and COVID related bills on National Hill. And one of the first things the PIA did was got about 5 or 6 of us together. We all talked in Zoom conference for about an hour. And what we were doing in our different shops, those of us who were going virtual and we're already there to help everybody else. And at the same time, Mike, you were dealing with things on Capitol Hill. So, what were the top 2 or 3 things that you had to deal with right away in the middle of all this?
So this is a big legislative year. It's obviously the presidential election year. So sometimes we see pretty major actions come out of Congress, people trying to earn their reelection on the House side and a third of the Senate. So everyone, you and I included, were kind of thrown into a loop when the pandemic hit. So we shifted, like all of us, a lot of our legislative attention to COVID relief and lobbied heavily on some of the first bills that you saw come out of Washington: the Families First Act, the CARES Act, and the related programs. And we really had a 3-prong approach to this pandemic. The first was real kind of that short-term crisis funding, the payroll protection program that many agencies were eligible for and were able to benefit from, in supporting these sorts of programs to make sure people were able to keep their employees and as best they could keep if not their doors open, at least their computers on. The second part of this was more the mid-term, mid-range funding in financial support of the business community. So we've supported a business recovery fund. These are funds that we support legislatively that would be appropriated to the Treasury Department, and then the Treasury would disperse in a much more structured manner to eligible businesses around the country to make sure that they, as this carries on and continues on, that they are eligible for the fund and able to stay open and support their local communities. So that's an ongoing issue that we're working on with Congress. And then the third and final element of our legislative campaign on Capitol Hill in Washington was what happens, God forbid, with the next pandemic. We wanted to make sure that we learned from this and we were best prepared to handle a future pandemic. So we've supported really concepts like a Pandemic Risk Insurance Act. These are legislative, proposals that are in draft form, and we're working those through legislative offices, but really to set up a program, a public-private partnership, really, that we have a structure and a program in place should we have a future pandemic, so we're better prepared. But at the same time, particularly as we try to get back to work and get back to the new normal, if you will, these other issues haven't gone away. The National Flood Insurance Program expires on September 30th of this year. We expect a short-term extension likely to get us past the election, and then they'll revisit it likely later this year. But all of these issues are pretty fluid, but we're fortunate to have a great team that takes on Capitol Hill every day. But I'll tell you, Al, for you or any of the Louisiana members, I want to share with you a great spot to get some updated information. So this is the PIA advocacy blog. As you can see it on the screen here. And it's piaadvocacy.com. It's a great resource. This is updated regularly by the PIA legislative staff. And, you can just search by date, or you can search by topic if you wanted, whether it was COVID or the National Flood Insurance Program. So piaadvocacy.com. You can also just put your email address in here, and you'll be notified every time there's an update right in your inbox. So it's a great site to visit and get updated insurance agent legislative news.
That's great. I know you'll also, from different email chains I was on, responding and trying to make sure that business income was not negatively affected as far as the insurance industry was concerned. So I'm glad y'all were working on all of that as we were all trying to take care of our customers and run our businesses. So thanks. So the other part of this, the next thing I'd like to talk about real quick is marketing. You know, it's important in these times to get out and market and let your customers know and prospects know that you're there, you're doing business, and the PIA was approached by a couple of companies and put together a program. And Mike, can you talk a little bit about the reimbursement? Because the chance that agents can do some marketing and actually get money back in their pockets is something that shouldn't be ignored. So.
Right. So we're fortunate to go to many of the companies that we partner with, and they were able to provide pretty substantial funding to the organization that we in turn are providing back out to members in a couple of different ways that members can have access to some of these funds. Really, the intent of this agent support initiative, or really it's a member reimbursement program, is to provide some of our services that we offer, whether it's on the marketing front or some business building tools that we have. We wanted to make sure that as an organization of agents for agents, we were providing the right tools and really having the channels open to access them and taking any financial burden out of the equation, so that members could really start to refill their pipeline, get back out there, market their agency, communicate with insureds. One of the things I heard during the pandemic, and still here, is that with folks out at home, there's a lot more education and training going on with agency personnel, whether it's CE programs. And we have some great tools and resources. And we said, hey, let's make sure that we take away the financial elements of all of these programs so that PIA members can come out of this pandemic stronger than they went into it. So I hope that all of our PIA members are taking advantage of these great programs. If you go to pianet.com/agent support, you'll see all sorts of information on our PIA member reimbursement program, but we're giving $250 out to members that participate in marketing reimbursement programs. So this could be postcard campaigns, digital ad campaigns, and really we have opened up our creative services. So if you have any other custom marketing campaign that you would wish to deploy locally, we will reimburse you for up to $250 to do that. And we'll give you another $250 to use some of our partnership business building programs. And I think, Al, you and I are going to talk about that in just a minute. But you can go to pianet.com/agent support. If I can, I want to throw out just another thank you to the insurance companies that have stepped up to fund this reimbursement program for PIA members. That's National General Insurance, Progressive Insurance, State Auto Insurance Companies, and West Bend Mutual Insurance Company, who really stepped up in addition to all the wonderful work that many other carriers are doing to fund this member reimbursement program. So go to pianet.com/agent support to learn more about that program and how you can get up to $500 cash back.
Right. And everybody should know that you can find this pretty easily on the main page of PIA.net, pianet.com as well. Their banners are floating around. So, let's talk about the Winning the Talent program first, because I know a lot of agencies right now are looking for new employees. And in fact, there are a lot of businesses everywhere that are looking for employees. And we find that out from our commercial customers and friends of ours. So what is the Winning the Talent? What does it do? And what's the benefit for us as agents?
So Winning at Talent is a program we have. And I want to tell you first, it's part of what we call the PIA partnerships. This is on a national level. This is our agent and carrier council. So this is an opportunity for some PIA members in the national leadership chain to sit down on a regular basis with about a dozen insurance companies, whether they're a smaller, maybe regional mutual company, or a large national company, just about anybody in between. But we all share the same interest, which is helping the independent agent increase their stake in the market and become a more profitable, successful agency. We all share that interest, and this is a great opportunity for us to combine that interest with some resources to put out some great programs, and one of which is called Winning at Talent. And first off, before I tell you to show you Winning at Talent, if you go to the PIA National webpage, pianet.com, right over on the right-hand side, you'll see the PIA partnership right here. And these are a number of the programs that the partnership has put out over the past couple of years. And I'm going to show you this first one here. It's called Winning at Talent. And if you clicked on it and clicked all the way through to access the program, you'd end up on this site here. And this is it's a three-part toolkit on really how to hire new personnel into your agency. So the first part is a little bit of a self-evaluation as an agency principal. Are you ready to recruit? You know, what might you look like to a potential employee prospect? Part two is sourcing, recruiting, and hiring. So we have some tools and resources to help you through that process. As part of part two, we've actually partnered with Ideal Traits. It's a hiring platform. They don't work with just small businesses. They only work with insurance agencies. In fact, they've worked with over 7,000 insurance agencies to bring just insurance agency staff to find them and bring them on board. So the part three, of course, is once you do bring on a new employee, you want to retain that employee. So part three is listed with all sorts of resources, education, onboarding tools that you as an agency principal may consider implementing in your agency to help retain that on board and embed that new employee into the culture of your agency. So this is called Winning at Talent. It's we're going to be expanding this out with podcasts and all sorts of information, but this program's live. You would, to access it, go to pianet.com, and right over on the right-hand side, click PIA Partnership, and you can go right into Winning at Talent there. So we're really excited about this program, and we rolled it out just a couple of months ago.
Right in the middle of the pandemic, and it's perfect timing because there are a lot of agencies that are looking for help and trying to figure out how to retain their existing help in these times. So
right, there had been record unemployment, right? So as we start to continue to recover this from the pandemic at various stages, we want to rebuild those agencies. We want to help our members do just that with good quality personnel.
Right. And then also another partnership program is the agency journal mapping, which is perpetuation and helping those boomers who are now trying to transition out. And these are some really unusual times to transition out when you're not quite sure what the value of your book is going to be down the road. So I'm sure that any tools that are out there can help us figure that out, whether you're purchasing or selling or just trying to perpetuate at this point in time. So tell us a little bit about that.
So agency journey mapping is just that. It's really perpetuation tools is what this is. Now, typically when we kicked this program off well over a year ago at this point, this was an in-person seminar. We hope to get back to that traveled the country, and we provided real live in-person training and resources to agency staff around the country on really evaluating and how do you begin that perpetuation process. And the point of this program was really not just to provide an agency principal as an example of just education about this information. We really wanted to make sure that the agency principal followed through and put a plan in place. It doesn't mean that you might be of retirement age and you should just now start thinking about it. If you think you got 20 years, I mean, I hate to say the proverbial you could get hit by a bus, but no matter what point you are in your agency life cycle, we tell everybody you should have a perpetuation plan. So we put this together, and it's a partnership program. So same thing, Al, if you go to pianet.com, right on over to the PIA partnership, you would click on agency journey mapping. And if you click through, you'll end up on our agency journey mapping microsite here. So like I said, this had been, Al, an in-person seminar, and we hope to bring this back. And if you're interested in an in-person seminar, when the time is right and safe, you can just let us know that, hey, I'd love one in my area. And when we get back to planning in-person seminars, we'll evaluate all of the interest and try and put the seminar where we can. But earlier this year, particularly in light of COVID, this timing worked out for us. We made this seminar on demand. So it's $99, but Al, if an agent wants to buy this for $99, send us that invoice, and as part of that reimbursement program, we'll reimburse you for it. So essentially to make it free for PIA members. But what you can expect with the on-demand program is it's a multi-hour seminar, but we have it broken up by topic. And sometimes they're just 4-minute videos or 8-minute videos by topic. So you can do it really from the comfort of your own desk at your own pace. We have absolutely loaded this up with just a full array of resources. And we make those available to you. So you can click the ones you want to download, we'll email them right to you. You can download every single one, and there's just dozens of them whether you want an internal perpetuation to a family member, or you want an external sale, how do you begin with evaluation? What does that look like? All sorts of resources. So please check out, go to pianet.com. Right over on that right, click Agency Journey Mapping. You'll take a look at the site, and that's where you can go right through and get pretty quick access right to our on-demand perpetuation planning tool, Agency Journey Mapping. And again, there's a cost to it, but we'll reimburse you for it right now.
And that's fantastic. And quite honestly, I've seen the resources in there, and they're extensive. Anything from a small agent to a very large agency can use these resources, and it's
Right.
something that I think all my agent friends need to know, that it's out there and it's available.
Great tool.
Right now, it's effectively free, so they need to take advantage of it. So now let's move on to the fifth one, and this is near and dear to my heart because a lot of people know that I'm a tech guy, and I have been on a soapbox for about 17 years when it comes to getting us on the same level as some of our direct writer competitors, whether that's selling through the internet or helping our customers access their information through our systems and our company systems. So, y'all put together the PIA IT lab, and it's really unique and it's really special as far as the association doing it. So why don't you give everybody the overview and tell them about the two different committees that people serve on.
Right. So we created what Al said, the IT lab. It's the Insurance Technology Leadership Advisory Board. And Al, thank you for serving on it. So Al, you know, not only does PIA have a great representative of representing agents in Al, but PIA Louisiana is particularly represented well on this IT lab. You know, but one of the things we see is there's a lot of opportunities to believe that.
While we're talking about IT, here we go.
While we're talking about IT, we have this great function on our phone called a Do Not Disturb button. I'll demonstrate how it works. How the IT works, you know, lab works is you often hear about these, and we have one ourselves, by the way. I just told you about the PI partnership where you have opportunities for agents and carriers to engage with each other. And then likewise on the technology side, you also see that maybe it's through, you know, your management systems user group. And we also see in a lot, you know, with a lot of requests, you know, agents want this, and the carriers say, well, I don't hear enough from agents that do it. Or, you know, is it a technology issue or a business issue? And there's so much of a disconnect that we saw that we wanted to put this group together, the IT lab, that has three types of representatives on it. It has independent agents, it's got carrier representatives, more that are tech focused, and it has really the tech vendors, whether they're a vendor or a technology company, management system, the three legs of the stool, so to speak, and put them all in one room. And we really did not have an agenda. This is what we're trying to accomplish. We put everybody together and said, hey, as a community within PIA here, let's identify a couple of things that we can tackle these three respective groups. And really pretty quickly broke into two groups with two areas. One is looking at standards, and specifically technology standards that could be developed and housed and utilized throughout the industry. And that's one group is focused on working on just that, these developing new technology standards that aren't necessarily as dated or antiquated or missing as some of the standards that may or may not exist now. The other group wanted to focus on the experience. What's the agent experience with technology? What's the consumer experience with technology? What's everyone's expectation in 2020 with technology and insurance? And as a result, the IT lab worked with PIA to develop the National Underwriter PIA Independent Agent Survey earlier this year, which had a heavy technology focus in it. So you could really hear from agents themselves on the tech side. And then we're looking at doing the same thing with the consumer side, so we can refine our problem statement and solve our problem statement to better understand that need and those opportunities that are in front of us that really require all three of those groups, the carriers, the agents, and the tech vendors, to work together move forward. So that's been something really exciting that we got at the tail end of last year. We really launched it in the fall and into the new year here, and we're excited about where that'll take us as an industry to really improve the IA channel.
No, I agree. I think it's great because as agents, we would love for a customer to be able to access either our app or website and get through and pay their bill with any one of our independent companies that they may be with. And right now, that's just not an easy process. So having standards in place and the customer experience, making sure we're putting those two together is great. It's interesting to note that we did send the survey out before the pandemic, and there was not a big upswell of people or agents who responded about working remotely. So we're going to send that survey out again and see how things have changed going forward, and whether or not agents are liking the remote workforce or not liking the workforce. And it's going to be interesting to see how those responses change in such a short period of time. So, all right. So in a way to kind of wrap up a little bit, we've talked about 5 things that I think are very important that people need to know the PIA is working on. Obviously, there are multiple things on the main website you can get to. But if you just want a quick overview with a little bit more detail, but not a lot, there's a magazine that comes out. It comes out electronically, and it covers these topics, and it also gives you the person at the PIA who writes the articles. Now you know who you need to contact if you got more questions. They'll be happy to answer your questions. So Mike, if you could pull that up real quick and talk a little bit about it and show everybody where they can sign up for the email version of it, that would be fantastic.
Sure. So we do send the PI connection out. We send it out 10 times a year. And we also have a weekly newsletter, by the way, called Newsline. So make sure you're getting not only PI connection or print edition. It is print, but we do send it out, as Al said, electronically 10 times a year. And we do send out the weekly Newsline. So you can let myself or Al or Jody know if you aren't receiving any of these, and be happy to get them to you. But this is the electronic version of one of our more recent connections, and it's a print piece, but you can click right through the online version, and it gives you deeper dives, more analysis pieces onto, in some cases, what's going on Capitol Hill. This particular edition covers BI coverage exclusions and legal issues with it. And if you click right into these articles, here's some legislative updates on COVID, and here's the legal analysis. You can have contact to any of these authors who are on staff with PIA. So you can ping them and get a little bit more information and deeper dives as to what your interest may be, to make sure that you are armed with the appropriate level of information. So yeah, if you are not receiving this electronically or in print, please let any of us know on the PIA side, and we will gladly fix that for you. So it's a great piece. Thanks for bringing that up, Al.
Yeah, and no, just right there, that cover, I'm sure there are a number of people watching this who want to see the BI coverage exclusion and legal issues article, because it's still on the tip of our customers' tongue when they call in and talk about its availability and why not. And they're getting articles, and they're getting blasted by attorneys and everyone else in the media and how they need to file claims and why. And it's good to have some information, some knowledge that you can kick them back with, other than go talk to the company. So,
right. Absolutely.
Mike, I appreciate your time. I don't want to take everybody's too long of a period of time. This is about what we would spend at the convention, I would imagine. And is there anything else you'd like to show off and talk about that we need to know as far as the PI National?
I would I want to thank you all for being part of this organization. It's a wonderful organization. We've been doing this since 1931, and we really pride ourselves on being an organization of agents for agents, and we have lots of resources available to you as part of your membership, available on pianet.com. But I'd love to hear from you myself and any one of us on the PI National staff, because we're working day in and day out for you up in Washington, which is in addition to everything that Jody and her team are doing down in Baton Rouge for you. So thanks for being part of this organization, and I look forward to being back at one of your conventions, hopefully sooner rather than later. But thanks, Al, for what you do for this organization as well. I've enjoyed this. Thank you.
Agreed. Thank you. And all the links that we had in this conversation, we're going to have those available where this video is posted. So you don't have to worry about writing all that stuff down. We'll have it taken care of. All right. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.